And we are on. Hello and welcome to Sports Unhinged. My name is Mohamed Khamis, and whether you're listening to us on your favorite podcast app or if you're watching on Facebook or YouTube, we're glad that you can join us on this NFL episode. Coach, welcome back.
Thanks, my friend.
We have a lot to get through. It's been a very eventful few weeks in the NFL.
Yes, we do. I'm so sorry that our other friend could not be with us.
Yes, we're supposed to have
Get well
Mark
soon,
Sherman.
Sir.
We will speak about the Chicago Bears in very flattering terms today.
I hope we shall.
Yeah. So how's it going?
I had a good week. Yeah, you?
All is well. All is
Yeah,
well.
my Texans
Excellent.
won another game in a row.
You guys are a bit of a dark horse right now.
I'm thinking maybe.
Maybe, right? Right.
Yeah.
Well, the game we just saw on Monday Night Football.
Have you seen one like that?
Never. I think it was the most
You're young.
entertaining game I've ever watched.
I watched it again last night.
Again.
A double watch.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I haven't done that other than when coaching, maybe 10, 12 years.
Wow. 54-51. Third highest scoring game
I was
in the
very
NFL.
close to predicting it over 50 or over 100 combined.
When was the last time two teams went over 50? Never, right?
Never, yeah.
It was the first time.
Yeah. Amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, I still get frustrated, though, because I read,
Yeah.
I watch our little WhatsApp group. Where was the defense? There was no defense played.
Well, whenever you get a game that's very high scoring, people just automatically say that. This game was different, though. There were 3 defensive touchdowns.
One guy scored
One guy scored two touchdowns
for himself.
for the Rams. And it was a weird kind of game. It came together kind of last minute. It was supposed to happen in Mexico City. Then the field was waterlogged, and they couldn't get it done, and they had to kind of put it together. Obviously, the California fires.
Yeah, I think there was some politics there, maybe.
Yeah, and they put it together, and they missed out. Mexico City missed out on a great game.
Do we ever underestimate the political opportunities of the NFL?
Yeah, well, yeah, they always make the best
They
out of it.
do their best.
Yes, they do.
How about the fourth quarter scoring in that game?
Oh, incredible.
12:04, touchdown Kansas City. 11:07 left, KC defensive touchdown. 9:38, LA touchdown.
Wow.
2:47, KC touchdown. 1:49, LA touchdown. 1:18, interception.
So
All in the fourth quarter.
how many touchdowns is that?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5
Wow.
in the fourth quarter.
In the fourth quarter.
That's almost more than the Bills have scored all year.
Yeah, almost.
Very close. The game had more.
Yeah.
Game had 14. The Bills have scored 13.
So I think, I didn't watch the game that ended with 106 points. I think it was the Giants and the Redskins or
Yeah, I
something
didn't see
like
that one
that.
either.
I didn't see that. The one that's, I think, at the top was in the 60s sometime. I think the game would have probably been different. But I think this score was very telling about, we talked about it in previous podcasts, about rule changes and how it's favoring that passing game and the quarterbacks not being touched and all of that. But
Just the talent of those two quarterbacks.
and it was just amazing defense, amazing offense. The game had absolutely everything. Patrick Mahomes, although I think needs to get a lot of credit, because he turned the ball over 5 times. And for them to lose only by 3 points, I think is an amazing achievement for him.
What were we sent earlier today? He scored 2 beyond 20, 2 in between 20, and 2 0 to 9. How good of quarterbacking is that?
Do you think we saw a little preview, a sneak preview of what the Super Bowl is going to be? Kansas City versus the Rams?
Maybe. I think we might have seen it 2 weeks ago. But I'm not sure the Rams can beat New Orleans.
That's the thing.
Yeah. I think that's why
Yeah.
Kansas City is more favored to make the Super Bowl
Right.
than LA. Because
See,
they have to go through New Orleans.
This is the thing with Kansas City. A lot of people have them going all the way to the Super Bowl. It's pretty much, Patrick Mahomes is on fire. He's scored 37 touchdowns so far this year. For some reason, I still have that feeling. I'm not 100% sold on Kansas City for 2 reasons. One is we've seen in the past with Andy Reid, when he got the Eagles to NFC Championship games in consecutive years and ended up losing. He had a 9-0 start with Kansas City, and then they ended up getting knocked out in the wild card round against the Indianapolis Colts. So that's one reason. It's the history of Andy Reid teams and how amazing they look during the regular season and how they disappoint in the playoffs. And the second one is because I feel that Patrick Mahomes, he's practically a rookie this year. He doesn't have that playoff experience. It's different. And I think if there's one team that can limit Tyreek Hill, not stop him, just limit him during the game, they can probably beat Kansas City.
That'd be New England.
Or Pittsburgh.
Oh, Pittsburgh.
Or Pittsburgh. I think one of those two have the potential of causing that upset.
Yeah, and let's don't forget, it's not his full rookie year.
Yeah.
But if you think back, the majority of your 1 or 2 year quarterbacks,
Yeah.
our quarterback went through it in Houston the first 3 or 4 games this year.
Right.
You're due some downtime. You're due some down games. Even your star quarterbacks have them. He hasn't had one yet. We could say that this past week was, even though they darn near won the game, and he had a remarkable game,
Yeah.
he still had 3 turnovers.
He did.
Yeah, and one of those was a pick six that probably cost him the game. Was that his bad game?
Yeah.
Because if that is his bad game, my money's on them. If it's not, because he's due a stinker.
Yeah. So it was actually 3 turnovers that were interceptions, and he had 2 fumbles that he lost. So it was 5.
I forgot about the fumbles.
So it was 5 turnovers in total. So to be able to come back from that, but see, I understand people are starting to hate on Mahomes a little bit because he's getting a lot of attention in the media and all of that kind of stuff. But every team does not have an Aaron Donald or Cam Irving trying to push through a 3rd-string O-line. So he's had to do a lot of adjustment, and he's done an incredible job. Now, out of those 3 turnovers that were interceptions, I kind of give him a pass for a couple of them. One of them, he was hit while he was throwing the ball.
That's right.
The second one was practically a Hail Mary, so, there's not much that you could say about that. There was one interception, though, that was just pure laziness. It was a lazy throw. He didn't move his feet. He threw it, directly to the to the defense. And those are the kind of mistakes that I think will start to come out a bit more during the playoffs.
Let's not forget how good his coach makes him look.
Yeah.
I'm a coach, so.
Right.
And let's also not forget how much that Hill kid makes him look.
Yeah. Tyreek Hill is just incredible.
Turning a simple out route 3 or 4 weeks ago to a 73-yard touchdown.
Yeah. That was incredible.
That's not unforgettable.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, do not take anything away from the Rams. They are a very, very good football team.
Right.
The reason they're just not high enough to go to the Super Bowl or win it based against Kansas City is New Orleans. Yeah. And I think New Orleans, for them to become the number 1, ranked team legitimately, they have a couple of games coming up that I think will be quite interesting. So now the question is Breeze your MVP?
For me, I think he is without a question.
Versus Mahomes?
Because it's between Mahomes and Breeze, that's for sure. So the MVP discussion is between those two.
All the betting odds, all the analytics say Mahomes. Everything in me says Breeze.
We've never seen a performance by a quarterback. I think when you look at all the pundits and the talking heads and everybody out there, I think their all-time best regular season quarterback performance was Aaron Rodgers in 2011.
Right.
This is breaking every single record.
One
from
interception.
That year. One interception.
One.
That's it. If he ends the season with 123, 124 passer rating, 75% completion.
Oh, what's he now?
Is it
74.8? 76.8?
76.9 right now.
76.9?
Rodgers had 68.3 in 2011. So he's
beating
that.
More yards, more touchdowns, completion percentage is greater. One interception.
If he ends the season with 2 or 3 turnovers, I don't think any quarterback will be able to break those records.
Will
for
they
a
give
long
it
time.
to him if they don't win it all?
Because
age. Yeah. I think actually one of the things he might win is because he's old, or not old, because of his age and because of his longevity being able to do that.
And because he's never gotten the MVP before.
Yeah. But at the same time, Mahomes is the exciting pick.
See, Mahomes is young. He's going to have a lot of time to win championships and MVPs, and I think he will in his career.
I read another thing earlier today that some of the reasons he might not get votes is because how good Kamara is.
Yeah.
And what's the receiver? Mike
Thomas, yeah.
How good Thomas is playing. But at some point you have to come back around. His play and decision-making makes them better.
Right. No, but I don't think that's actually a great argument against Breeze, because if you look at Tyreek Hill, him and Thomas are very similar. Yeah. If you look at Kamara, Kareem Hunt and Kamara are very similar. But in Kansas, you have other guys you've got Kelsey, you've got, there was this other wide receiver. I'm trying to remember his name. It'll come back to me. But he's got 2 or 3 other pieces in the offense that are helping out Mahomes a bit more. Now, another thing that I think works against Mahomes, out of the 11 games he's played this season, he's had interceptions in 6 of them. So only 5 games have gone without an interception.
So over half.
3 games had multiple interceptions.
And the guy we're picking has
only one. And it's not just about, you can throw for 10,000 yards and you can throw for 100 touchdowns.
Dan Marino.
But if you're throwing it to the other team as well and they're scoring, it doesn't mean anything. I mean, there needs to be...
What was that guy's name for Dallas? Tony Romo.
Tony Romo.
Yeah, same.
He used to do that all the time, right?
Yeah.
So with Breeze, I've never seen precision, effectiveness. It's just scary.
I think the last podcast I was on, I mentioned Peter King and reading his Monday Morning Quarterback in America. I read him this week. He was embedded with New Orleans for the whole week.
Wow.
And talking about how they go through their process. I've never seen anything like that. And I think that's why Breeze has become so efficient.
Yeah.
Because he is a part of it. I think that's why Kamara has been, I wouldn't call it a breakout season, but a comfortable season. But they run the rock too.
Right.
They don't just throw it around the lot like Kansas City.
Kansas City is second in the NFL for screenplays. So they've had the second most screenplays in the NFL. Wow. So that's another statistic that actually people should think about when they're...
The silly one I read today as I was doing research for this wonderful podcast.
Yeah.
They have the most alignments of receivers outside the numbers by triple.
Wow.
So talking about how Andy Reid likes to spread the field, and you hear that as an anecdote. Well, they're spreading the field.
Yeah.
They're triple more of receivers with their foot outside the numbers, which is 6 to 8 yards outside the hash.
Yeah.
Which is so much different. And then put that Tyreek Hill's speed, and then you let him clear out, and you run a screen in behind him. And they also have the least weighted, so their offensive line in Kansas City has the least amount of weight. So they're obviously the most fast or most quick. They're going to get out on the edge. That's an easy sell.
Yeah, actually, when you look at the most pressured QBs, there was a statistic that came out on ESPN. So Drew Brees is the second least pressured QB in the NFL, while Patrick Mahomes, I think, is number 7, 6 or 7 on that list. Most pressured because of that O-line. Now, the question is, so Drew Brees has thrown for 25 touchdowns, 1 interception right now. 1. Patrick Mahomes has thrown for 37. Yeah. He could very well break Peyton Manning's 55 touchdown record.
And then if he gets 57, he gets free ketchup for a year.
Free ketchup for a year, right? That was an interesting,
like
he puts ketchup on everything. So the question is, if Patrick Mahomes gets 57, 60 touchdowns,
he wins.
But Drew Brees ends the season with only 1 interception, maybe 2. And they keep winning from here on in. What?
I just don't think you can sacrifice 50. Well, it depends on how many interceptions he throws against it.
See, that's the thing.
If they lose again in the first round?
I have a fair solution. You give the MVP to Drew Brees. He deserves it. He's never had it before. Offensive player of the year goes to Patrick Mahomes.
I think, again, I say his age and his longevity will give him a vote for most voters over the youngness. No matter how many touchdowns, no matter how far.
Yeah.
Because I think, for the most part, if you look quarterback rating, 117 and change, 118 and change.
Yeah.
It's so close.
Right.
If Brees doesn't throw another interception and they keep winning. Here's a question.
Yeah.
Who do you give it to that's not a quarterback?
Who do I give it to that's not a quarterback? That's interesting.
Or those two?
I haven't really thought about that. That's interesting.
Yeah. As our friend who's not here, he might say that Mack guy.
Khalil Mack, yeah.
Because he is a definite presence in every game he plays.
He made an impact immediately. And I love it, the 2 weeks that he sat out because he was injured.
Didn't play.
Yeah.
Was just as big of him being an MVP.
And we promise we won't talk about Gruden, but I'll just mention him in passing right now. Everybody was talking about how Gruden was a genius for letting him go because look at him, he's injured again. It was only 2 games. He came back. He looks better than ever before.
On a force. We'll talk about Cousins and the Vikings and Mack and Hakeem Nicks in a minute. But I might tend to roll to Gurley.
Yeah. Gurley's has been lights out this I think. And that's one of the things that I feel both teams, the Rams and the Chiefs, didn't do in the home stretch of the fourth quarter. They didn't run the ball enough. They were just...
They didn't have to.
Yeah,
5 touchdowns.
Everybody was slinging it, right?
Yeah.
But I think the Chiefs kind of blew it because they had Kareem Hunt there that could have, gotten them some yardage. I think there was the play calling was so daring.
They were just 3 and outs in the middle of those touchdowns between 9:38 and 2:47.
3 and outs.
There were 3 and outs in a row. 1 from each team that they threw the ball all 9 times.
Wow. Yeah.
Right? So not trying to, if you get even in this game where you get a 7-point lead.
Yeah.
Run one play to run some clock.
Right.
Right? Even if it's, what's the play clock? 40 seconds now? Even if it's 32 seconds. One play.
You just run it, get some yards.
2 plays.
Yeah.
In those 9, if you run 2 of those and 2 of them are runs and Kansas City doesn't turn it over, they win the game.
Right.
Now, they don't win it scoring over 100 points together.
Yeah.
But they still win the game.
Yeah.
Now, I'll say that loss does not hurt Kansas City.
It doesn't. No, it doesn't. But the thing is with the AFC, I feel there are a lot more candidates for the Super Bowl or for the NFC Championship games than there are in the NFC. The NFC, right now, it looks like it's the Rams versus the Saints. In the AFC, you've got the Patriots, you've got the Steelers, you've got the Chiefs, you even got the Texans who might cause a couple of surprises over there in the playoffs. So I'm still not 100%. I think Kansas looks great. I think Mahomes is definitely a fantastic quarterback. I wouldn't give him the MVP, and I'm not predicting that they will reach the Super Bowl either.
I'm not either.
Yeah.
I don't think that. I'll give it to Breeze. I think they'll make it to the Super Bowl. I think they'll win, and that's where my money is.
On Breeze.
Yeah.
Well, we're gonna see what kind of team the Saints are in the upcoming. Because they play Dallas. I think they play Dallas next. They play the Falcons once. They play the Carolinas twice.
So Dallas has Washington tomorrow.
Yeah.
And then they get New Orleans, in 10 days.
They get New Orleans, yeah. I'm just trying to see.
If Dallas wins Washington, they're on a little bit of a roll.
Yeah.
And your prediction is closer. Oh, wait, we got to talk about the NFC East on this page.
Yeah, we'll get that to the end. We'll probably close the show with that one because that's...
We almost had a special guest for that NFC East.
Oh, did we?
Yeah, but that special guest declined. I did not tell that special guest they could not be here. Well, special guest just declined.
They can always change their minds and join us, right?
See.
Maybe. We'll see. Yeah. We'll see. All right, so let's move on to the NFC North. So we saw a very interesting division rivalry game between the Chicago Bears and the Minnesota Vikings. It ended 25-20.
Blatant overthrow by Cousins. Almost as bad as your guys. Blatant.
Almost as bad as Cam's and against the Lions. Yeah,
we'll talk about almost. That's a lot of money for guaranteed.
$84 million when they had Case Keenum. I mean, they had someone that's almost a clone of Kirk Cousins.
NFC Championship game with that guy. 2/3 the price?
2/3 the price, yeah, that's right.
60% of the price.
So he had 262 yards. He had 148 rushing and 2 interceptions that just didn't make any sense. That pick six in the... Did he cost them a playoff spot? Is it over for the Minnesota Vikings?
It's close. Now, the good news is they get 3 of their next 5 in the NFC North.
Yeah.
And only have to play Chicago one time.
Right.
So they get Detroit. They get Green Bay.
Mm-hmm.
Green Bay's hurting a bit. I actually think they're going to circle the wagons.
Really?
I do.
I'm waiting for it to become official so I can gloat on my prediction that Green Bay is not going to get anywhere near a playoff spot.
All right. I won't disagree, but I have an expectation.
Yeah.
Some of Cousins. Let's give Mack and that Knicks guy some credit from Chicago.
Hakeem Nicks, yeah.
And let's give their defensive coordinator some credit. He did an unbelievable job of jamming the outsides.
Yeah.
And he did a really good job of spying the running back so that he can't hurt or at least off block outside the guards. Because when you off block outside the guards, you limit your outsides coming in.
Yeah.
That Mack guy, man, he can play football.
And that game was more of a beatdown than the score suggests because there were 2 touchdowns that Kirk Cousins scored in garbage time. I think there was 5 minutes left to the game, and it was 22-6
to
Chicago.
Think that's right.
So Chicago then started playing prevent defense
or no defense,
and just they're trying to run down the clock and all of that, and everybody's like, oh, see how Kirk Cousins started torching the Chicago defense right there at the end. They knew they won the game. They were just trying to kind of waste the time, and they conceded two touchdowns, but that's okay. But I think that those guys are for real. All of their losses, Chicago, all of their losses have been by 1 possession. Their losses combined are by 11 points combined.
So are we ready to predict the Chicago Bears? NFC North.
The Patriots game was literally a yard short. It was 1 yard short with that kind of Hail Mary that Trubisky threw. So the only thing that people are saying, oh, the Chicago Bears lost against the Dolphins. The Saints lost against the Buccaneers and the Vikings lost against the Bills. So these things happen. But overall, in terms of consistency, the Bears have destroyed every team that they've beaten throughout the season. And it was just pure dominance. I think they're legit.
The ELO 538 has the Bears at 71% to win the division.
Yep.
87% to make the playoffs. I'm pretty sure they're going to beat Detroit, the Giants, San Francisco.
Yep.
I think that gives them enough wins to clinch.
Right.
The North, because I think that even if Green Bay circles the wagons and strives and makes their way to the wild card, Detroit is Jekyll and Hyde,
right.
Jekyll and Hyde, right?
Minnesota, I still think they're struggling coaching the quarterback.
Yep.
Where Alex Smith was very conservative and they knew how to coach him and they knew particular plays to call.
Right.
I think they're struggling with Cousins. I think Cousins is very much struggling with that.
You mean Case Keenum?
I mean,
Yeah,
Keenum, sorry.
Keenum, yeah.
Keenum. And I think Cousins is struggling in that role because I think he's a sling it around guy.
Right.
And he's struggling when you check down and call the screen when it's 3rd and 17. He wants to bang it.
Yeah.
What did he say what did I say? This game was flexed during prime time, not because of them, because of us.
Yeah.
Come on, mate.
Yeah.
That game was flexed because of that Mac guy.
Right. That's the main attraction
no
there. Right.
So I do think the Bears. Hello, Mark. I think the Bears will win the North. I think they have a chance to win 4 of the next. Was it 6?
6, yeah.
Not just
6 or
3,
5, yeah.
because they'll beat Detroit. I think they'll beat the Giants. They'll beat San Fran. I think they'll win one of those, and then I'll think they'll kick it off in the last game.
And they're the only team right now that are in the top 5 offense and defense in the NFL. Top 5 offense.
Have you seen the stats on their defense?
Yes, actually.
Holy cow.
Our buddy Mark sent it, and we'll probably put it up on the graphic here.
Please do.
Number 1 in the NFL with plus 13 turnover margin. Number 1 with 27 total takeaways, 18 interception, 97 points off takeaways from the defense.
I remember when they hired Nagy.
Yeah.
Some of the messages. What are we doing? Why this guy? Why are we doing this? But I think they made
the ownership made a good decision because he was connected. As a young guy, he can connect with the young guys.
Yeah.
But he was connected enough. And if you go look at his coordinators and his position coaches, they have the ability to coach the rock.
Yeah.
Not just connect with players, because he has the ability to do that. But, man, that defensive coordinator, he hasn't called a bad game in about 7 games.
Or a bad play. It's been consistent throughout. Yeah. They're the best team in the NFL against the pass. They've allowed the fewest rushing plays. So it's just all around.
I meant to look it up on how many plays they had given over 13 yards in the last 6 games, because I looked up their defensive stats in the last 16 games, and it's the best in the NFL in 6.
Yeah.
It's the best in the NFL in 6 games since the 85 Bears.
Wow.
Right?
That's incredible.
And I meant to look how many, because they had given like only 9 plays in an 8-game stretch over 16 yards. I meant to look it up, but I didn't. I'd like to see that.
It's incredible. I mean, those stats that are coming up is just unbelievable. So they're in every single category. They're number 1 in most of them, 2, 3, and 4 in a couple. And look,
being a numbers guy, you can make numbers kind of say what you want.
Yeah.
But when you're in number 1 in all the numbers, sometimes the numbers say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they've been effective on offense as well. Let's give Mitch Trubisky some credit here and for his receiving core as well.
Very consistent.
They have the lowest percentage of dropped passes in the NFL.
Very consistent.
Them and the Rams. So it's good company to be in on the offensive side.
I was looking up there in Peter King's thing where they grade the offensive linemen.
Yeah.
Their front 5 have the best grades of the year.
Yeah.
As a competing front 5 of either not getting beat or blocking their guy out of a hole on a run play or getting out on a screen in a certain amount of time.
Here's an interesting stat that I want to look up. How many of those guys are Pro Bowlers, or how many are going to be Pro Bowlers for the first time?
On the Bears?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, I have to think.
If we had Mark here, he would just
If I can't think of their names, they've got to be pretty high on the first time.
Right.
Maybe the center.
Maybe.
Seems like I remember. Actually, I don't know.
Yeah.
My goodness, you embarrassed me.
So if there are no Pro Bowlers in that front 5, front 7,
and first-year offensive line coach.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good
all
stuff.
The awards are going.
Sorry, I keep coming back to the coach thing.
Yeah. No, of course. I mean, that's the thing that's behind all of this. It's all been good coaching. Sean McVay with the Rams, Nagy with the Chicago Bears. And speaking of coaching, like we can start talking about my Panthers. It was one of the most frustrating games I've ever watched. 20-19, we scored a touchdown. There was no time left on the clock, a few seconds. Could have taken that extra point, tied the game, gone to overtime. Ron Rivera lives up to his nickname, Riverboat Ron, decides to go for the 2. It didn't work out. And I was frustrated. I was pretty upset for a while. I slept on it. Woke up the next morning, and I was thinking, had that 2-point conversion, and it was an overthrow by Cam. It was his fault. The whole scheming, the coaching, everything was right. Had that worked, we would have all been lauding Ron Rivera for being brave, for not being a coward, for playing to win instead of playing not to lose, and all of that kind of stuff. And considering the fact that we got punked by the Pittsburgh Steelers the week before on Thursday Night Football, I felt that had that worked out, it would have given us, that would have been the moment that would have galvanized, the whole team to do well.
Let's step out of it for a second.
So I'm not as mad anymore.
Let's step out for a second, not as a fan. Yeah? Let's step out. Let's step in for a second for a scheme and coaching and decision.
Right.
The play was perfect.
Yeah. The execution.
The person was open.
Right.
The plays on the goal line 2-3 weeks ago, I saw I saw some of the plays in film on the NFL Network where they were leading up because they had 2-point conversions in, I think it was 3 weeks ago and 5 weeks ago that were very similar, but offshoots of that where the guy released or he cleared in or the linebacker got cut up inside. It's the exact same play, but they ran a curl.
Yeah.
He could not. I could throw it from me to you.
Yeah.
With a water balloon, and you would catch the water balloon, right? So don't fault the coaching.
Right.
Don't fault the play call. Don't fault in the moment.
Yeah.
He's probably seen that play. Go back to Philadelphia when they won the Super Bowl.
Right.
Right? The Philly special.
The Philly special.
Which they've run all year against that particular defense,
Yeah.
against that particular lineup, and they never called it. And same as your guys play in that game.
Yeah.
We haven't seen it. We've only seen the alignment once, from what I understand. Everything went according to how it was. That guy's looking you in the face.
Give me the ball.
You've got the top 5 quarterback in the NFL.
Yeah.
That's not on the coach.
It's not on the coach.
And I'm not knocking Cam, because Cam's the reason they were in that position on that drive in those last 2 minutes anyway, or 2.5 minutes anyway.
Yeah. But I think
he missed the guy.
It says a lot, though, because the fact that Ron Rivera went for the 2-point conversion tells me a couple of things. First of all, he does not trust the defense like he used to.
How bad of a kicker did you have that game?
Graham Gano, yeah. I mean, I've always liked
an
Graham
extra
Gano.
point?
Yeah, he missed an extra point.
A short field goal.
Yeah.
Clanked one.
Right.
So
he's had a couple of bad games this year, so he didn't trust the defense. Those days where Carolina's defense was branded as an elite defense, those days are gone. They used to have the best front seven in the NFL a few years ago. Luke Kuechly, I've seen him. He's my favorite player. I'm wearing his jersey. I've seen him miss more tackles this year than I've seen since I started watching the Panthers 10 years ago. So Cam, on the other hand, is playing the best season he's ever played in terms of percentage completion.
Agreed.
That game, he'd thrown for 357 yards, 3 touchdowns. High completion rate. He was doing his part. McCaffrey didn't have a great game. They managed to block the rushing game. But the rookie, DJ Moore, 157 yards, 1 touchdown. Our offense was, moving the chain.
So are you going to put it in the hands of the guy who's having the hot game?
Yeah.
High completion percentage, no turnovers. Are you going to put it in the hands who's missed one,
right,
clanked one, and wide righted one? Your money's on the line.
And it wasn't like it was a Hail Mary or a long pass, because the Panthers are one of the worst teams at 3rd and long in the NFL. They're I think the 4th worst team in the NFL. It was a 2-point conversion.
Do you know who? This reminds me of a saying. You know who Jerry Glanville is? Have you heard of him?
No.
Jerry Glanville used to coach the Houston Oilers and the Atlanta Falcons way back when. There's an NFL films of him talking about his kicker missing at the end of the game. Mm-hmm. And the referee turned to him and said, "Man, that's a tough one." He said, "Bud, this is the NFL, which stands for not for long if you rely on your kickers."
Yep.
Yeah. So I don't discount your Panthers.
I don't either. I think we're 6-4.
I think if they did not have to play New Orleans in 2 out of their last 3, I would clock them into the wild card.
I still think they're going to be in, because look, we're playing Seattle.
Flip,
and Seattle's one of the teams that's also contending
at
for the
home
wild
or
card.
away?
We're at home.
Okay, maybe.
Then
we have to fly across the country. Okay.
Yeah. Then we're at Tampa.
Win.
At Cleveland.
Win.
Win for sure. I'm gonna say for sure, because if we can't,
Cleveland won this week, by the way.
I know, but if we can't beat the Cleveland Browns, we don't deserve to be in the playoffs. Then we're at home to New Orleans, and that game is going to be very telling, because if we manage to figure them out and beat them, then I think
so. I've got them beating Tampa, Cleveland, and Atlanta, and splitting New Orleans, and I think that gets them in.
If we can win 4 games, 1, 2, 3, 4, out of the next, so we finish the season 11-5. I think that would be.
I think that's enough.
Yeah, I think that would be enough.
But if you don't split, then you got 10.
Yeah.
I'm scared to death of Green Bay.
I'm not remotely worried about Green Bay.
They get Detroit, the Jets, and Arizona.
Yeah. Oh.
Okay. They get Detroit. Let me remind you, the Jets and Arizona.
Okay, and then after that,
then they go in the north.
They go in the north,
right?
Yeah.
I think they'll beat Minnesota.
Yeah.
and then it's a toss-up because they get maybe the Chicago, who's already clinched.
So they might not play the whole team. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know. Let's see. We'll wait and see. I'm going to hold on to my
prediction. I don't even want to
prediction.
talk about Minnesota because Minnesota has a chance too.
Minnesota does. So right now, I think the teams that are in the wild card contention, we've got the Dallas Cowboys. We'll talk about them in a bit. We've got Minnesota Vikings, Carolina's in there, and Seattle. So those are the 4 teams that could possibly. Detroit. 4-6.
Detroit.
I don't think they can come. No, I don't think they have the consistency to come back.
Look at the teams they've beat this year. When they strap it up and they scheme their best. Look at the teams they've beat.
They shouldn't have beaten us. I'm a bit. It's still sour grapes for me right now.
New England.
Yeah.
So look at when he schemes them.
Right.
Maybe not this year.
But yeah. I think they're probably.
Look, I think the Panthers are in. I'm going to go on a wild card and say that I think Green Bay's in.
I think Seattle might do it. I think Russell Wilson is one of the most underrated quarterbacks in the NFL. What he's been able to do with the team that he has, with all the struggles that they've had with the internal politics, he is consistent.
You're probably right because they're going to get Arizona once.
Yeah.
And they're going to get San Francisco once. Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah. So I have probably us and Seattle going in.
All right, here we go.
Here we go. Let's wrap it up with the NFC East.
Who nobody cares about.
I don't know why everybody's branding me the Cowboys fan this year. When I just
made a homer.
I made a prediction.
That other person who's not in the league is a homer too, so it's all right.
So I made a prediction that the Cowboys were going to win their division. And
they're going to.
At some point during the season, I looked like I was the stupidest guy in the world, and I held on. I didn't back out of my prediction. I decided to stick by the Cowboys.
Now,
look what happens. So you've got the Redskins losing their quarterback, Alex Smith. That injury was one of the worst. You don't want to see that on your worst enemy.
Never.
That was one of the worst injuries of. I still haven't seen it properly because I've seen other people's reactions to it, and I just don't want to see it.
Don't watch it.
It was both the tibia and the fibula that were broken.
It's so bad.
It's just horrible.
4 of their 5 offensive linemen in the last 3 weeks.
That whole roster is on the injury list right now. So Washington, although what's their record right now? They're 6-4. They're top of the division. I think that's the beginning of the landslide for them.
They may not win another game if you look at their schedule.
Probably.
No, that's not true. They'll beat the Giants.
Let's see.
They may beat the defending Super Bowl champions.
They're at Dallas, at Philly. Then they're at home to the Giants. Then they play Jacksonville, Tennessee, and then they finish the season against Philadelphia.
I don't think Philly's going to roll over.
Yeah.
But as you said, let's talk about the NFC East to end. I didn't really want to because I don't care.
Yeah. Nobody cares.
But I think if you look, Dallas has 3 wins, which gets them 8 wins. Which all they then have to do is win 1 more to get to 9.
Yeah.
They're in.
I think 9-7 gets them in.
Yeah. I guarantee it. I don't think Washington has that many games.
Right.
I don't think they can win 3 more.
So
I really don't.
This episode will come out after the Washington-Dallas game has been played. So it's Thursday night football tomorrow. We'll probably have the episode up. So what do you think is going to happen in that game?
Dallas will win.
Dallas will win.
Going away. And I hate it.
Ezekiel Elliott is just carrying that team on his back.
Give the offensive coordinator some credit.
Yeah.
Because he was under fire. Fired Linehan. He's out. Fired Garrett. He's out. And they recognized, what the hell are we doing? Mm-hmm. When did we stop running the football?
And they went back to what they did best.
And they went back to what they did best. And what did he do 2 weeks ago with running the football in the screens?
Yeah.
126 rushing, 78 passing or receiving.
He's second in the NFL right now behind Gurley.
Bang it.
Yeah.
I see them winning as much as I really super hate to talk about it.
Week 13, there's an interesting one when they're at home playing against New Orleans. That wouldn't have been an interesting game a few weeks ago. Now it's the one I want to watch.
It could be the qualifier for Dallas.
It could be the qualifier, yeah.
And it could be the who cares for New Orleans.
Yeah, yeah.
Now, I don't think they will get to the who cares for New Orleans. Philly, they're not going to beat the Rams.
They're not going to.
They get Washington twice, I think. So they're
the-
going to split with them.
The only 2 games that they have left that are not division games are against the Rams and Houston.
They're not going to beat Houston.
They're not going to beat Houston.
They're probably not going to beat the Rams. Let's say they split Washington. They're probably not going to beat Dallas.
So basically, we're saying they're not making the playoffs.
I don't think they will.
Wow.
I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Mr. Commissioner.
Ujira, he's.
And then we can just chalk up the Giants to a dumpster fire.
Yeah. We could do that now already. That's it.
So I think you're right.
Yeah. So
The Dallas Cowboys are going to win the NFC East, and the
Who
coach
thought?
is not going to get fired.
people were having a go at him on their bye week. He went to the World Series game. And everybody was like, just fire him already. He should be at home working.
Had he lost, he might have.
Yeah, he might have. But they've turned it around. And this is the beauty of the NFL. It's so unpredictable. The Redskins looked like they were going to just win that division easy. They were just going to, clean up that division, go to the playoffs, and then we'll see what Alex Smith can do. Maybe not be able to throw the deep ball again and lose the game. He's gone now. Injuries, other circumstances come in. Now all of a sudden the Dallas Cowboys are the favorites. What does Vegas say?
Vegas says Jay Gruden's going to be the offensive coordinator in Oakland next year.
Wow. To join his brother.
Yeah. So Dallas is 68% to win the division, 78% to make the playoffs.
Wow. Who would have thought it? What were the odds like 2 weeks ago?
2 weeks ago. What were we, 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago? I said it myself right
Yeah.
here. And you stuck by it.
Right.
This guy went full-on Homer Philly.
Yeah.
I really thought Washington was in it because I thought their quarterback play, and he was playing very consistent.
He was playing very well.
He was not turning the ball over. I thought that Gruden had finally found a quarterback that he had understood his play calling.
Mm-hmm.
Cousins, and we're seeing that with Cousins and the Vikings, always wants to play outside the box, extend it. This guy doesn't.
So the three quarterbacks that were always comparable to each other, Alex Smith, Kirk Cousins, Case Keenum.
Yep.
And right now, Kirk Cousins, who's getting paid the most, is playing the worst.
He's imploding his team.
Keenum had a great game. They just beat the LA Chargers last week, he had a very good game. So, I mean,
he's the most, I think of the three, he's the most manageable quarterback.
Yeah.
Where he comes into a game plan and he will play to your game plan and not beat you.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I don't think he'll go out and win it. I really don't.
Right.
Where I think that Cousins will beat you because I think sometimes he will not play to your game plan. And I think the poor guy that got hurt, I think he's right in the middle. Mm-hmm. You have the ability to stretch with him, which I think Jay Gruden has been needing.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, not if he hadn't gotten hurt, but I think that if their offensive line hadn't gotten hurt in those last 2 or 3 games, I don't think he'd be hurt.
Yeah.
And I think they would be at least 7 games because they would have beat Houston.
Right.
They were an offensive pass interference
Yeah.
or a defensive pass interference from winning against Houston.
Yeah.
And it probably should have been. Yeah. So I don't know.
So
it goes against every
Yeah.
fiber of my being to allow someone else in this room to be right.
Yeah.
That's not you. I'll let the Cowboys win.
Yeah.
I do. I think they'll win.
They'll win. They'll win.
Common sense tells you, man.
All right. Before we wrap it up, and I'll ask you this question in every podcast you appear in from now until the Super Bowl. We'll see how.
So I'm going to get invited back.
Oh, for sure. We'll see how the answer to this question will change. Who do you have for the NFC, AFC championship games right now? Top 4 on a hunch.
Oh, my goodness gracious. I've got to go New England, Pittsburgh.
Wow. Okay. So you have the Chiefs not even getting to the championship game.
I think that they'll probably meet Pittsburgh, and I think that they have the ability to scheme. Mm-hmm. And I think if they meet New England, lightning will not strike twice.
Yeah.
They
did give up 43 points to New England.
No, I agree.
Right? So, yeah.
NFC, my goodness. I've got to pick, common sense says Rams.
Rams and Saints, right?
Saints. I think that New Orleans has the better coaching mantra.
Yeah.
I think they coach their players better in the better schemes in the right places at the right times. I would not Man, this scares me. I would not sit on Chicago because I think those front 4 and front 6, because we do not discount their 2 inside linebackers to play their scheme correctly.
Yeah.
Because when they crash Mack and Hicks from the outside, those backers cover just in case so well that I wouldn't sleep on Chicago. Mark, I'm not saying that as a homer. I wouldn't sleep on them.
I'm going to say this before we wrap it up, and I'm not going to give you a chance to respond. But I will say Carolina.
Oh, my God.
During the regular
Homer.
season. I'm not going to even wait to the playoffs. In the next coming games, we're going to play against Atlanta. We're going to play against New Orleans twice. They will change your mind before the playoffs start.
I'll come back.
You'll come back. All right. Excellent. Thanks. So we'll wrap it up there. Thanks for watching this episode. Don't forget to subscribe on our Facebook and YouTube channels. And also listen to us on the SoundCloud, iTunes, and Stitcher apps. This has been Sports Unhinged. My name is Mohamed Khamis. Thanks for watching. Until next time.
Bye, guys.
Thanks, Coach.